This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime.
So, you come across as this really humble, down-to-earth, nice guy. I'm sure you were a good student at Kharagpur. But I'm sure there was another side to you as well. Right? There is to every IITian. There is to every IITian. Did you ever bunk classes at IIT? The morning classes?
Of course. I think it's the rite of passage of going through college. I had, I have to say I worked hard, but we did have our share of fun as well.
Did you get ragged?
It was pretty mellow. I definitely remember, when I started, hopefully it has gotten better by now. But we had a few things. I don't know whether you still have. At the time we used to have something called a CG change. I don't know whether you guys still do. It stands for center of gravity change. So you as a freshman, you lock your room and you go out and you come back, and the room doors aren't open, but everything inside your room has been rearranged.
Wow.
And they do it by putting sticks in and all your clothes. They've rearranged even the furniture. So it's quite a shock when you open your room door and you walk back in to see your entire room has been rearranged. So
that must have been crazy. As a freshman.
Yeah, it was quite an experience. I don't think that was as bad as maybe a couple of weeks into being here. I came from South. I came from Chennai. I had learned Hindi in school, but I never spoke it much. Just listening to how people were speaking, I just thought you address people this way. So one day there was someone in the mess, and I had to call him. I called him Abe Saleh. That's how. In my first couple of weeks, I thought you call people that way. It was quite. And next thing I know, the folks in the mess were quite upset, and I think they temporarily closed down the mess.
Oh wow!
So I wasn't very popular for that day. So
you were responsible for the mess shutting down at IIT?
Just for a moment, yeah, just for a moment.
You met Anjali at IIT Kharagpur?
Yeah, Anjali is my wife.
Yeah.
She was my classmate. She lived in. Do you still have? I hope you still have SN Hall. And it was the only girls' hostel then, and I hope there are a few more now. And it wasn't always easy if you had to go get someone at the girls' hostel, you had to walk in the front and request someone there to go call them, and so they would go in and loudly say, Anjali, Sundar is here for you. So it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience, but
Does it still work like that, or you guys use technology?
I guess it's moved on by now.
Yeah. So, when we were on campus, there was no Google, and there was no internet. So how have things changed? You've come here after a long time. Do you see a difference between then and now?
Of course, I come to India regularly, and the rate that Rajan spoke about it, the rate at which things are progressing, at least digitally, has been phenomenal, and you see it in every way. Of course, we didn't have phones there. I remember waiting for a long time to get the first rotary phone in our home, and it was a long wait to get that. Didn't have access to computers growing up. Saw the first computer here for a little bit.
We had to book time at the computer center.
Book time, carry floppy disks.
And floppy disks,
It's a very different world. So, clearly the progress has been phenomenal. Mobile is an amazing revolution for India. You have over 300 million smartphones. So you see the change, palpably, across everything I interact with. Though I have to say, walking into Nehru Hall, looking at my dorm, it still looks exactly the same as it did 25 years ago. So some things don't change, which is for the good, I guess.
You were in Bangalore. You met startups in Bangalore. And I heard you say that there's nothing really missing as far as startups in India go. They're as good as startups elsewhere in the world. But there's one thing which sort of, we also invest in startups and we face this problem as well ourselves as a company, that the Indian market is not large enough to invest a lot in technology. So, so how do you, in a situation like this, compete with MNCs which have large investments in technology?
No, I think it's a good question. I think part of the problem is in India, the potential is there and the market is developing. I think it'll take a few more years for it to fully realize the potential. For all its potential, we get excited about smartphones, but we are talking a number of 300 million in a country of 1.3 billion people.
Yeah.
And not all of them have good connectivity as well. So I think the digital market is still developing. And so that's the problem you run into. And so as companies getting built here, it's difficult to scale across India and reach that full potential, which gives you the resources to go compete internationally. But I think it's just a moment in time. Hopefully Indian companies are more thoughtful about, when they build stuff, also targeting similar areas like Vietnam and Indonesia and Thailand. I think those markets are developed and, and the same products would work in those markets as well. So I think they need to set their sights a bit bigger. But it's a good question. But I think the trend lines are strongly in the favor. I think every year I can see the rate at which things are changing. Yeah. So in about 3 to 4 years, I'm pretty convinced, at least in a 5 to 10 year time frame, that there will be big global, software companies coming out of India, and we will be very used to it. Look, it's remarkable to be at IIT. There are many, many great people who don't make it in, and you will see this later in life. People do well from all walks of life. I think it's important to remember, getting into an elite institution doesn't guarantee success. It matters a lot, but it doesn't guarantee success. And I think it's important to keep that perspective in life. And life is a long road, and so you want to take it at the right pace and enjoy what you're doing.
I interviewed a guy recently for our company, and he was all of 26, 27 years old, and he had done a startup after graduating, and he was very excited and he wanted to do new things. So I asked him, what happened? I mean, why did you give up on the startup? You've already done 1 or 2 things and you want to try a third thing. He said, I saw these friends of mine who graduated with me. They're doing such exciting stuff overseas and in India that I went through a quarter-life crisis. And so I want to do new things. There's so much happening outside. There's so much opportunity today that there is no end to what you can do.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think there are definitely a lot more options. I mean, it doesn't need to be even in engineering. I think it's important to remember there are many, many different ways you can approach things. And what matters most is loving what you're doing and trying to do well at it. So
sure. So tell me, I'm sure there are lots of great technologists at Google, and you're a great technologist yourself. But what is Sundar Pichai like as a leader?
I think
what is your leadership style?
When you're trying to run something at the scale of Google, we have now over 60,000 people, and you rely on other strong leaders. I think a lot of what I do is I have an outstanding leadership team. It's learning to let go and really empowering people, at all levels of the organization, and trusting them to doing the right thing. And as a leader, a lot of your job is to make those people successful. It's less about trying to be successful and more about making sure you have good people, and your work is to remove barriers, remove roadblocks for them, so that they can be successful in what they do. And so that's how I've always thought about it. And I've also valued teamwork quite a bit. And I think it's really important to build organizations where people actually want to work together. Yeah. Everything comes out of that. So setting up collaborative cultures is another big thing I try to focus on.
So it's not about one person, it's about the team.
That's right. Yeah.
And if your team succeeds, you also succeed with them.
Absolutely.